guys, welcome back to another video here on my channel. We are doing another book review. We are doing a review of the fourth and final book of the Seattle Scorpion series by Ruth Stilling, Ruled Out. Now, I read the first 3 books in the series and they all have separate videos. They are the last few videos, so you can check out the playlist or just check out my channel and you'll see them. I did say in the last video that this one was my favorite, but I obviously had not read the 4th book, so this one had been my favorite so far. But I have to say, surprisingly, the 4th and final book is my favorite in this series. I'm actually really surprised by it because of some of the topics that are covered in this book. You would think that for me it would not be my favorite, but I think the way the author wrote everything in this book was really great, and I think this one had the most amount of emotional depth and everything to it, and it had a lot of serious, truly serious trauma, the deepest, most difficult trauma out of all of the books was definitely this one. And I think the way the author covered it and dealt with it was really beautiful, and I truly enjoyed it, and I think it's my favorite book from this author. I still have another book to read by her in the Blade King series, the 5th book, but so far this is looking to be just my favorite from this author, and I really truly enjoyed it. So it follows Jesse Callahan, who plays for the Seattle Scorpions, and Mia Jenkins, who is the daughter of Graham Jenkins, who is, I think he's a general manager. He's not the coach, but I think, or might be, the general manager of the Dallas Destroyers, which is the team that Jesse Callahan initially played for when he started out in the NHL, until he got ousted from the Dallas Destroyers because he was secretly going out with Mia, who is, like I said, the daughter of Graham Jenkins, the GM of the Dallas Destroyers. So he immediately had him shipped and was like, "You're lucky you'll be playing for another team." The Seattle Scorpions actually liked how he played and thought he was a really good player, and so they did sign him. But basically he had to stay away from Mia, even though he did truly have feelings for her and loved her. Her father just did not approve of him because of where he came from. But I thought, because her father disliked him where he came from so much and thought that he wasn't good enough for her, I assumed that he knew his entire background, and that's why. And I was well, it's still kind of an asshole thing knowing his background, but I assumed fine, you don't like his background and his parents, and so that's why you're saying that he shouldn't date your daughter, but he didn't. So basically, sorry, I could just close my eyes to think. Jesse Callahan's parents are both alcoholics. His father is abusive. His mother is not. His mother just an alcoholic, and so he deals with that as a childhood, the lacking of food, sometimes having to prepare a little microwavable meal himself, and having to fend for himself. Because his parents were just both drunk, and his father was aloof, not there, or abusive when he was there, and totally had it out for him. He was also a twin, but his twin died at birth, and his father kind of blamed him and kind of said, "Oh, you murdered your brother," even though that's how you can't murder your brother at birth. He claimed "Oh, you sucked the air from him" or something. Anyway, and I don't know if, I think it may have said that his mother was kind of not great around alcohol to begin with, but I think definitely her second son dying at birth had an effect, and was what turned his parents even worse into whatever, into the alcohol and stuff. But I might be confusing, and maybe his mother wasn't an alcoholic before, but she might have been. So that's kind of his trauma and his backstory, and because of what he went through, he is kind of in the story a bit of an alcoholic. He's not as bad as parents, he's not violent or anything, doesn't abuse people, and he's not consistently drunk, but he does definitely turn to alcohol to help numb the pain and stuff later on in life. I don't know if he did that when he was with her. I also think they have a 4-year age gap. But I think when they started dating, she was 18 and he was 22. He was already playing for the Dallas Destroyers, I believe. He got signed to the Destroyers because her father had a program where he her father finds young players that he thinks have potential and works with them, and then eventually maybe gets them to the NHL. And so that's what he had done with Jesse. And then her father caught them together and totally did not approve of her with Jesse and Jesse with her, and was like immediately like kicked him off the team, was like, you have to go elsewhere. I'm gonna put the book down, sorry. Was like, you have to go elsewhere, and then shipped them off to the Seattle Scorpions. He's like, you're lucky that they're gonna take you. Although I think it said in the book the Seattle Scorpions did like how he played and thought he was a good player, so they were actually eager and willing to take him. And so eventually we get to a point in the book where he discovers, because it's his coach of the Seattle Scorpions, because the coach of the Seattle Scorpions knew the situation, knew why he was like kind of like kicked off the Dallas Destroyers, and like was kind of like telling him like, oh, you have to like still stay away from her and something like that, and he was like, what? Kind of confused. And then he was like, the coach was like, oh, you don't know? And he's like, no, like, oh, the coach might have asked him like, oh, have you been talking with her or seen her? He's like, no, I haven't seen her since like the last time, which was like, I don't know, a year plus ago. And he was like, really? And he was like, seriously? He's like, even though he's like, you haven't heard? And he's like, what? And so then he learns that Mia is actually going to a university or college in Seattle. And so when he learned that, he knows that he needs to like stay away, but he like kind of doesn't want to, just because he's always still like harbored feelings for her and just like hated the way that he left her and just like walked away from everything and like didn't try to fight at the time to like stay together with her. So he ends up stalking the library at the college. He goes like 3 days in a row until he finally like runs into her, and then they start talking, and then they go for like coffee on that like particular day because he's like, hey, and then they go for coffee somewhere there on the college campus, and they start talking, and then they kind of like start reconnecting and communicating, and eventually, like, I think he comes back, like, he just thinks because of like where his background and everything, like he can't be like, he's not good enough for her. And I always think it's interesting, I think those tropes are pretty common in books like these, when they have this like all this trauma that they're bringing with them, like they feel like they're not good enough. And I feel like the issue, and something that I think the FMC usually ends up pointing out, is like, you're not giving me a choice. And I think like that is very interesting, and I like when the FMC does communicate that. And what ends up happening is he goes back to Dallas. I can't remember, because he goes back to Dallas a few times in the book. Some of them are for away games, and some of them are just like to see his mother. So I don't remember if this situation stems from him going for an away game with the Seattle Scorpions, or he was just going to visit his mother. But he ends up getting like hit badly by his father, because he realizes his father had like knuckles, something on it. When you knuckle rings or something, I forget what you call that. And ends up hitting him. I don't remember what provoked it. I don't know if it's because his father said something and he said something in return. Because I did read this book like a couple books ago, so I'm kind of slowly forgetting some of the details, even though I did quite enjoy it, because I read so much, so it's so hard to like for my brain to keep in all the details. So then he comes back, and she ends up coming over because so it was when they had a week off, he went to Dallas to see his mother, to see how she was doing and stuff like that, and to maybe try to convince her to come back to Seattle, and then he could get her like help and rehab and stuff. But I think that ends up not happening. His father ends up hitting him. He ends up coming back. He was supposed to go to like a game, like a different game that I think one of the, like, I think he was supposed to go to John Morgan, his stepson. I think he was supposed to go to John Morgan's stepson's game with everybody else, but like nobody had heard from him since he came back from since he came back from Dallas. Like nobody on the team has heard from him, and so she's like wondering like what's going on. So she ends up like she doesn't know his address, because they just kind of like started reconnecting and talking, but she didn't know his address. And Felicity, who is the FMC in the first book, ends up going to Mia's flower shop, because she always likes to go to that flower shop, doesn't kind of realize that like this is Mia, like Jesse's Mia. And they end up talking about like not having spoken to him like at all this week, and she's really concerned, Mia. And so Felicity is like, oh, I can give you, like, let me write down a piece of paper, I can give you like his address. And that's what she gives Mia his address. And then Mia goes over with flowers, totally expecting that, obviously, because he's a hockey player, he's in a secured, like a building with like a doorman and stuff, and doesn't just, he's not anybody can just go up. So I think she asked the doorman, like, hey, I'm here to see so and so. Doorman like is like, oh yeah, you can go up. So I think she was surprised to be allowed up. She goes up and she sees like the state that he's in, and ends up asking him questions and kind of doesn't let him back away from talking about things. And she ends up like I think he lifts up his shirt or something, and she sees all the bruising and the scars and stuff, and she's like, not like, it doesn't like scare her in a way, like she doesn't like pull back. And I think that that's something that he really appreciated, and is what kind of kept them to continue the connection. And then eventually her father finds out, because somebody who like was sort of was like a friend of a friend, but was like in her friend group, that had tried to ask her like twice on dates, and she was like kind of like no each time, ratted on her to her father, because like her father used him to like watch out for her or something. It's like a whole thing. And so then her father ends up like getting really upset, and then upset with him, and then he ends up being at a game. I think it's because like Dallas was playing maybe against the Scorpions in Seattle. I think that was the case. So, like, her father was there, and then he talks to her father and shares everything, like, about his childhood, lack of food, the abusiveness of his father, and all that kind of stuff. And like says how much like he loves her, and then like her father kind of like turns around and like, oh my goodness, like I didn't know all of this, and like the fact that you would like say do all this and try to be better, and like I can tell that you really love my daughter, and like kind of just does like a 180 on his opinion on whether they should be together or not, which I'm like, maybe you should have like given him more grace from the beginning, and just like heard him out from the beginning, rather than just like him needing to like vomit at you his whole trauma for you to be like, oh yeah, okay, I misjudged you, misunderstood you, it's cool that you're dating my daughter now. Like, no, like I think that was an unfair thing on her father's part. I won't spoil the rest of the book, but that's like the gist of the book. There is another heavy trauma situation involving his parents that does happen again. I won't spoil it because I do think you should read the book, and I do think it is a pretty big point that like blends his past trauma with his existing trauma and all of that and something new. But it was such an enjoyable book, and I really liked how he said that he was going to work hard like every day to be the person she deserves, and I kind of like that. Because sometimes we have FMCs that like don't, MMCs that don't bring like traumas with them, like, or don't bring major traumas, and I think like that's okay. Not every book needs like heavy trauma, but I think sometimes when they do, it's not always covered well. But I think the author did a great job of covering the traumas in this book, and really creating an MMC that was like working hard to improve upon himself for the FMC, and was just grateful that she stuck by him. But I also like an FMC that isn't like scared and was able to be like, I'm gonna be there for you, like even though you keep pushing me away for these reasons, I'm still gonna be there. I truly enjoyed this book. I would say this book is a solid 5 stars. It's my favorite in the series. I think it's the first time that I've had the final book in a series be one of my favorites. It's actually not the first time, it's the second time, but I truly could not recommend this book more. I think if you're looking for a hockey romance book that isn't just like fluff, but has like a lot of emotional depth to it, I would highly recommend this one. I do think you should read the whole series to work your way towards this one, but truly, truly such a good book. Could not recommend it more. And I do believe this author is going to do another hockey romance series, and so I'm excited about that. To read her next series, I think it's going to be great. So yeah, truly enjoyed this book. That is all for today's video. If you want to see more videos from me, I'm posting 3 days a week. So I'm posting Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. And I'm posting basically every other day of the week on all of my other socials. You can follow at @PlannerGirlAmy on Instagram and TikTok, where you will see daily content there. I'm really working hard on growing my book talk content. You can also follow at Romancing the Ice, which is my digital book club on Instagram. And that is all for the video. Bye!